Wildcats football. Wildcats football. Wildcats football.
I got it.
Wildcats football. Wildcats football. Wildcats football.
Welcome to the Married with Picks podcast, season 6, episode 15, week 15. Got a lot of big lines this week, and no teams on bye, so let's try to get through this quickly, so we have more games than we're used to. So, first game up, Jets at Jaguars. Jaguars are
Did you say like what episode? And
Yes.
Oh, okay.
God.
And if you skip that, like that's a tradition.
Jaguars are 13.5-point favorites. The Jets will be starting Brady Cook at quarterback. He came in last week after Tyrod Taylor got hurt. I have to admit, I thought Tyrod Taylor got pulled, but he got hurt. The Jags have actually won their last 4 games. It's a big line now, and I cannot take the Jaguars as a 2-touchdown favorite, but I'm not going to take the Jets either.
I mean, I don't love the game, and I don't know. I have a weird feeling looking at a lot of these lines. Like typically, these big lines I'd be scared of and take the dog, but I'm going to surprise on a couple games this week and lay the big points. And this is one of the games where I'm going to take the Jags. I think the Jets have cashed it in. I think they're done. And even though I don't like who would like Jaguars minus 13.5 against anybody, but I think the Jets are done. Jacksonville's 4-1 in their last 5 against the spread. They're playing great football. Best football they've been playing since probably 2018. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville and lay to 13.5.
All right. You're a braver man than I. Next game, Cardinals at Texans. Texans are 9.5-point favorites. Now, CJ Stroud has never been this big of a favorite in his career. We know that the Texans' defense is good, but their offense does struggle to get it going at times. Now, other than their 3 division losses, the Cardinals have only lost within 4 points, other than those couple division games. They are 5-1 against the spread on the road. And the Texans are coming off that big win over the Chiefs last week. So
Right.
I think this screams garbage time cover. I'm going to take the Cardinals.
This is another one where I'm going to take the points. And 9.5's a lot, but it's right off that threshold of double digits where it doesn't really scare me as much.
Okay.
I think it might play a little tight. And typically I like the Cardinals in this situation, but I think we're going to get a lot of blowouts the last couple of weeks here of the season. And I'm not saying necessarily this is going to be a 30-point blowout win, but it's definitely going to be more than 9.5. The Texans 4-1 in their last 5 against the spread, 5-0 their last 5 against the spread.
Yeah, but the spread hasn't been 9.5 points.
Taking the Texans.
Okay, different sides of that one. All right, next game is the Bills at the Patriots. Bills are 1.5-point favorites. So we have the 11-2 Patriots as a home dog in this division matchup where the Patriots shocked the football world and beat Buffalo back in week 5, 23-20 in Buffalo. Now we have the Patriots coming off the bye. And I'll tell you what, if I know anything, this is Mike Vrabel's kind of game. He is 6-1 straight up and against the spread after a bye week. And do you know that, what do you think Drake May's record against the Bills against the spread is? It's 3 games total.
3-0.
He is. How you're so good when I give you these trivia questions, man.
It's just, what can I tell you? I know my football.
All right. So I think it's pretty obvious which way I'm going here.
I mean, they won earlier this year, right?
They did. But don't you abide by the thought that it's hard to beat the same team twice?
I do, but what is even a bigger rule is it's hard to beat a team 3 times. So I'm looking at the third matchup down the road. I think I'm with you here. I think the Patriots win. I mean, Bills are a slight favorite, but still, New England's 8-2 against the spread in their last 10. In their last 10 games straight up, they've won as a home dog, and they're a home dog. Sorry, their last 10, they've won their last 10 straight up, right?
Okay.
So doesn't matter what the line is, but they're dogs here, so you don't have to take the line into account. But being the home dog, I like the Pats here. I'll even go down the road further for 6 weeks down the road when they match up in the playoffs. Probably I'll take the Bills in the playoffs.
So are you saying this is going to be like the opposite of the Bills and the Chiefs, where the Bills always win in the regular season and then the Chiefs win in the playoffs?
Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, they're going to go 2-0, and then they're going to not be able to win that third game when it counts.
All right, so we're on the same side of that one. All right, next game is the Chargers at the Chiefs. Chiefs are, and I think this is actually, we have it written down at 4.5. I think it's actually 5.5 now, but we'll stick with what we got on the sheet. This is a division game as well. These teams played back in week 1 in Brazil. Chargers won that game 27-21. Chiefs keep losing, but keep being favored in these games. Last week, against the Eagles, Herbert didn't look great. Obviously, he's playing with like a club, for lack of a better word, on his non-throwing hand. Now, it obviously did affect him. He did not throw the ball very much. Like, if you look at the stat lines for his receivers, it's like ridiculous. So, and now this week, he's going to be in cold Kansas City. So I don't think that's going to help any. The Chargers' offensive line is very bad without Joe Alt. The Chiefs can get pressure, and I think they will get pressure. And obviously, Herbert did run a lot in that game, but he did have some trouble holding on to the ball. So as much as I would like to take the Chargers here, I just can't. I got to go Chiefs under these circumstances.
I'm very surprised. I thought you were going to go Chargers here.
I mean, if it wasn't for his hand, I probably would. But
well, this is my buck the trend game. You want to hear the trend we're going to buck on this game? Well, we're going to take the Chiefs. I'm with you. It's up to 5.5 now. It is up to 5.5.
Well, and okay, so and the money splits are not dramatic on many games this week, but in this game, it's 75-85 on the Chargers.
Yeah, I got 85% of the cash is on the Chargers.
Okay, so
the line's at 5.5. Kansas City's 0-5 against the spread in their last 5.
Yeah, I believe that.
That's how bad they've been. Mm-hmm. But I think, like you said, the Chargers are coming off the short week. Big win. Very emotional win. I think Harbaugh was about to kiss the quarterback. But like you said, he's got a broken hand. His non-throwing hand is broken. He's running around with a club. And he ran with some authority last week. I don't think he's going to be able to do that against Kansas City. And if he's not able to run the ball, that's pretty much what allowed them to hang on to the game and win in overtime. I'm going to take the Chiefs here. We're going to. Is that what allowed
them to win in overtime?
His running ability?
I'm saying. If
fuck you.
If Hurts hadn't thrown the interception, then they would have not have won that game.
They would have lost. Well, the defense played really good against Philadelphia. That's for sure. But
the Chargers defense?
The Chargers defense. But you're going to see the Chiefs are more familiar. They're not going to have as much success. And I think this is do or die time for Patrick Mahomes, right? I don't feel like the Chiefs are going to make this unbelievable run to win the Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl. I think that ship has sailed. But they still believe they have a chance. If they believe they have a chance, they have to win this week. So I think you're going to get the desperate Kansas City team and they'll win by a touchdown.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Same side of that one. Next game is the Raiders at the Eagles. Eagles are 11.5 point favorites. So Eagles definitely their offense did not look very good last week, or their quarterback did not look very good last week. Maybe their wide receiver. And the Raiders are just bad. I don't know.
Is there anybody that looked good last week for the Eagles? In your opinion?
Defense played fine.
All right, at least you give me half the team.
And Saquon looked good.
Saquon did look good.
Goddard was fine.
The offensive line was holding.
Goddard had a good game.
Goddard did.
Okay. Well, all right.
Smith caught the one ball that was thrown his way.
Do you know whether it's Geno Smith or Kenny Pickett?
Kenny Pickett.
Definitely?
Yeah.
Okay. So Kenny Pickett, and obviously he was formerly an Eagle for some period of
The
time.
Kenny Pickett revenge game, Jack.
Yeah,
Does that count here? Is that a thing?
Well, the Raiders have a really bad offensive line, so this is probably the Eagles' defense should be able to do what they need to do in this game. The question is the Eagles' offense going to do what they need to do? And it's kind of a shame that they fired Chip Kelly, right? Because that would have at least
I was looking
made it
forward to this
interesting.
game because Chip Kelly was coming back, at least in the beginning of the season.
Now, and I told you this the other day, but the Eagles only have one more touchdown than the Raiders in their last 5 games. And what about Lane Johnson?
You just couldn't wait to get that stat out on the podcast.
What about Lane Johnson?
He's not playing.
He's not playing. Okay. Because, and this was like a Carson Wentz thing. Remember? Like when Carson Wentz was the Eagles quarterback, it's like, is Lane Johnson playing or he's not playing? Because if he wasn't playing, you lost. Now, I heard on the radio that the Eagles win percentage without Lane Johnson in the lineup is 38%. With him in the lineup, it's like 70-some%. So, I mean, I just can't, under the current circumstances, take the Eagles as this big of a favorite. But I'm not going to take the Raiders. And there can't be like that weird play at the end of the game again involving the Raiders. So, I don't know.
Well, the one problem I'm just seeing here is that Fred Johnson, who is Lane Johnson's backup, is injured. So I don't know that he's not playing, but we have to keep an eye on that.
What's the headline say there?
This one says Lane Johnson out. Eagles tackle Fred Johnson is a big challenge with the Raiders. But there's another one here that says Lane Johnson's backup, Fred Johnson, is now injured too.
Okay.
And that was as recent as 4 hours ago.
Okay.
So
Not on the injury report Wednesday, appeared limited Thursday with an ankle. I don't get into too much of that stuff.
all right, so he's on the injury report.
But he wasn't on it Wednesday, and he's on it Thursday. And then Nick Sirianni says...
He practiced Friday.
Nick Sirianni says, I don't get into that stuff too much. Like, what?
He just doesn't want to answer a question.
That's just the stupidest answer you could give.
Listen, you go, it's a long day, and there's just sometimes
Hey, that's
where
a long week.
It's just like, blow. Next question, please.
All right.
Better
So,
off just saying next question, please.
all right. Who are you taking in this game?
I'm going to take the Eagles. I don't feel good about it. Who likes giving up 11.5 points? But listen, Kenny Pickett does not want to play in this game. It's going to be like 10 degrees. It's going to snow for about 8 hours before the game. So there's going to be snow all over the place. It's going to be cold, and the temperatures are just going straight down after kickoff. So I don't think that small hand Kenny Pickett's going to be able to grip the ball too well and throw the ball over the field in this bad weather against the Eagles. I look for a lot of turnovers and a big win by the Eagles.
Okay. And I did hear on the radio you were listening to earlier, they asked the question, like, if the Eagles squeak out a win over the Raiders, like, is that good enough? And I know for your Eagles fans, like, a win is a win, but
Listen.
it's still like if you win by like a field goal,
I know
like on
you're
the
a hater.
Raiders.
I know you like to be an Eagles hater, and just because we're married with picks doesn't mean that you're coming over to the side that I'm on.
No,
Okay?
and I bet the Eagles the past 2 weeks, so you ain't getting me there now, that's for sure.
Okay, well, can I tell you something? Do you realize that last week they were without their best offensive lineman and their best defensive lineman?
Yes, I do.
Who are basically
But they were playing a quarterback with one hand. Like, you're playing a quarterback who's essentially got his other hand tied behind his back
on the team.
So, and that was stupid of me because that fell in
let's not get crazy.
fell
like
in
the
the there's
Eagles
no
are just,
way
like,
category. Like,
died
there's
and
no
they're
way the
done.
Chargers win with a quarterback
There's
with
no
one
Lane
hand.
Johnson.
And that's exactly what happened.
There's no Jalen Carter, who anchors that defense.
What?
If
Okay,
anybody
so
says he
Jalen
stops all
Carter-
the guys from running straight to the linebackers, who will ole if they don't have. By the way, Jordan Davis played a hell of a game at that tackle last week.
Okay, but let me ask
there
you
was
another
no
question.
Jalen Carter, which would have made the difference.
Is
if
Jalen
either
Carter
one
playing
of those
this
two
week?
guys were playing last week.
Is
they would have
Jalen Carter
beaten
playing this
the
week?
Chargers.
Is Jalen Carter? Okay. I didn't think so because he had 2 bad shoulders.
No, so
I don't even know how you get 2 bad shoulders, but especially when you're that fucking big
team, dude. He's all. Listen, last year took a big toll. You know, they played all those extra games, played 4 extra games to win the Super Bowl. Okay. That guy was on the field for literally the Eagles normally rotate their line and out. That dude was on the field for like 85% of the defensive snaps.
Okay. All right. We're getting bogged down on this game. So you got the Eagles.
It's your fault.
Next game, Ravens at Bengals.
Hater.
Ravens are 2.5-point favorites. This is a division game. These teams played 2 weeks ago. It was Burrow's first game back, and the Bengals won that game 32-14. Ravens coming off a tough loss to the Steelers last week. That was another stupid pick by me. And Bengals coming off the tough loss to the Bills. Now, in this division, we have Pittsburgh at 7-6, Baltimore at 6-7, Bengals at 4-9, but the Bengals are 3-1 in division. So technically, if they won this game, and they probably need the Steelers to lose this game or upcoming games, I think they have a pretty good shot at the division because of the record in division, and especially if they got this one too. Now, I don't know if you saw the press conference that Joe Burrow gave, which was kind of bizarre, if you ask me. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there for him personally and professionally. But that did concern me. Now, I looked back, as I like to do.
What was the press conference? What was he saying? Do you want to like give a little detail?
I assume that you saw it.
I did, but you just right off the cut press conference. But you should probably allude to what happened instead of just saying there was a press conference because probably people who are listening might not know.
I don't know what the question was, but he essentially said that if he's not having fun playing football, like he doesn't want to do it. And he's not having fun, and he's got a lot going on, both on and off the field.
Okay, so that's what you heard. Quite literally, that's what he said. What I heard quarterback speak was, get some fucking players in here and protect my ass so I stop getting murdered every fucking game behind this line. You've had me for 3 years. You haven't drafted an offensive lineman, and all I got is wide receivers on this team, and nobody plays fucking defense on this team. That's what I heard.
He's the one that wanted Jamar Chase.
That's what I fucking heard. So the one of Jamar Chase didn't mean don't draft any fucking lineman to block for me.
Well, you only got so much money to go around.
That's what he's
the
saying.
Whole point. Like
he's trying to send send a very loud message to ownership to get their fucking head out of their ass. That's exactly what Joe Burrow's doing.
But earlier this year, they signed Higgins to a big contract, and they gave him the advantage of having this quarterback and these 2 stud receivers that no team has. But in that process of doing that, you have to give up something else. So you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, well, they gave up their entire defense pretty much and their offensive line. So just because you have 2 wide receivers, the Eagles do it. How can you make that as an excuse? The Eagles are paying a quarterback and 2 wide receivers as much as these 2 guys.
Nobody does.
What do you mean Devontae Smith doesn't make that much money? They might not make as much, but they make damn close to it. They're both making like $30 million a year.
Devontae Smith or whatever his name is?
Yes.
I don't know.
I'll look it up now while you're still talking, but he's making a shit ton of money.
I don't know about that. But anyway. So
that's basically what he was saying. Was like, hey, listen, I'm tired of getting my ass
that figure there. And that is not what T. Higgins signed.
Devontae Smith signed a 3-year contract worth $75 million with the Philadelphia Eagles, which includes a $20.35 million signing bonus. That's $25 million a year, babe. How much is T. Higgins? 3 years.
All right, stop screaming.
$75 million. Why are you pointing at the screen going, what is it? I'm telling you.
$1.1 million.
I'm telling you what it says. Okay, I don't know.
Okay,
I'm telling you he makes $25 million. Why are you arguing with me?
Because you're too loud, and this is going to come across really loud on the podcast that poor people have to listen to.
He makes $25 million. What fucking do you want me to spell out?
Okay, good.
How much does T. Higgins make?
I'm done with this whole conversation. Let's get back to this because you cut me off right as I was making a point. And I'm not the one that said it. I heard it. That they make a lot more.
4 years, 115. That's 25. That's a little little
a
over
little bit more money.
$27 million a year.
Okay.
So
well,
I mean,
listen,
that's close. It's only like $2 million difference. You know what I mean? It's pretty close.
We will revisit
Pretty damn
this.
close, right?
We will revisit
So my
this.
point is,
we will
is that
revisit this.
just because they have these two expensive receivers, right? And Chase is making more. I think he's probably the most. He's making the most, I think, out of any receiver in the league. But that's probably like $30 million, right? So that's close to AJ Brown. They have all this other talent. What the Bengals just can't draft.
We are going to revisit this with exact figures next week. But let's get back to the game, okay? Now, Bengals with Burrow versus the Ravens since 2020 have either won or lost by a maximum of 3 points. So I think I'm going to do it. I wasn't going to touch this game because I didn't really like those comments he was making, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Bengals.
Well, let's go back to his comments, because the way what I heard when you said it and what I heard when I watched his interview was, I had two different feelings, because when you said it, and you both said the same thing, right? But when I listened to you say it, it made it sound like Joe Burrow doesn't want to play football anymore, and he's got a lot of stuff going on off the field,
well,
like commercials and business shit.
No,
but that's
like
not
personal problems.
That's not the field. Like he broke his fucking leg. He keeps getting slammed.
Well, but I understand
He's not going to be able to
like,
walk again if he gets another like thrashed ACL, probably.
Okay, well, number one, like week
so to me,
14,
hold on, just let me talk. Just let me talk. Do you have to argue with everything?
It's not the place to do that, though.
My point is that when you say that, it makes me worried that I shouldn't look at the Bengals here in this game, because those are some frightening words as you're saying them, right? That he doesn't want to play anymore, that he's not going to try.
I didn't say he doesn't want to play.
No, but that's the feelings that I get when I listen to you say what Burrow said. I don't think that's the case. I think that you're going to see him continue to fight throughout the year, try to backdoor these guys into the playoffs, but his press conference was very, very telling to me. I think that he's sending more of a message to senior management that, hey, you better start getting some talent in here to block for me. Otherwise, I'm going to demand a trade.
Okay, but do you think that week 14, 15 is the place to do that? Because I don't.
No, I think he's just emotional.
I think he was pissed off because he lost the game for them last week.
He was emotional because in his mind, they have to win out.
Well,
right?
He's the one that they were winning by 10 points and ended up losing.
He's pissed they lost
by
the game.
5. Should have been 10, but whatever.
He has the mindset. He's going in there that he's got to win out to get them in the playoffs. And that rest of that division is just so freaking bad that a losing record, which is what they'll have
that game
if they
last
win
week
out,
probably makes a difference.
Well, if the Bengals win out, right? And let's say they got into the playoffs, whether they got in the playoffs or not, if they win out, they're going to have a losing record. They're going to be 8-9. That still could be enough to get them into the playoffs to win the division. Because, like you said, that would give, if they win the tiebreaker, if they both finish 8-9, them and Pittsburgh, right? Pittsburgh can only win one more game. The problem is you have the Ravens in between Pittsburgh and the Bengals, right? And they play each other. The Bengals or the Ravens and the Steelers play each other before the season's over. So if the Steelers get one more game, they just have to beat the Ravens in the last week of the season and they're in the playoffs. So it's tough. It's a daunting task. But let's get back to this game. The game is right now this week, the Ravens versus the Bengals. Like you alluded to, I think you said on this game, 80% of the money's on the Bengals. Did you say that?
I did not mention that because you got me all off track.
All right, well, let me bring
that is correct.
Let me bring it back in. The 81% of the money is on the Bengals here. That's the only thing that scares me because it seems like everybody's on board with the Joe Burrow story. But I feel differently. Like where normally I try to buck that trend with the public, I feel like Joe Burrow is going to go on a run here. He's got to go on a run here, and I'm definitely going to take him against the Ravens. The Ravens have looked like shit, for the all season pretty much. I mean, they had a 3-win run before last week. Thought maybe they were going to get it together, but Lamar just took 5 steps back when you play against a defense that's familiar with him and they know how to defend them. Mm-hmm. It's just it's like we just always say when he gets in the playoffs, these teams they D him up and he looks like a different quarterback.
I was mad at myself for not taking the Steelers last week. Although I think the Ravens would tell you that it was the refs because of the couple of bad calls. But
yeah,
okay, all right, moving on. Next game.
So who are you taking?
I'm going to take the Bengals.
I am too.
I don't feel great about it, but Commanders at Giants. Giants are 2.5-point favorites. This is obviously a division game, meaningless otherwise. Giants did lose both matchups last year and week 1 of this year to the Commanders 21-6. Commanders had nothing last week when they played the Vikings after they put it all out there, only to lose to the Broncos the prior week. It is going to be Marcus Mariota this week at quarterback, and they lost Zach Ertz last week, who was a big target for both quarterbacks, but especially Mariota. So, I mean, you talk about teams packing it in. I think the Commanders have packed it in. So I would lean Giants here, but I'm not saying I'm actually going to bet this game. We're halfway there. Let's go. What you got?
I'm going to take the Giants as well. I want to take the Commanders here, but I was going to take the Commanders until I feel like they just had the wind break the sail of their ship, losing their quarterback after he, was out for a while, came back, broke his arm, was out for a couple of games, came back, and it looked like they were going to try to, at least finish strong to the season, even though they're out. They don't have any playoff hopes. He got injured last week and he's done for the year.
Well, no, they said he could have come back, but they're making him done.
Well, he's going to be done for the year. So now you got Mariota, and the rest of the team is going to be tough to be motivated to play with him. But we'll see if it is a division game. We'll see. We'll learn a lot. If the Commanders look horrible, like they get blown out this week, go against them the rest of the year. Because they've just given up. But Washington's 1-7 against the spread in their last 8, 0-7 against the spread in their last 7 versus the NFC teams. Mm-hmm. And basically, that's an indictment of Mariota because he's been the quarterback pretty much for the last 8 games. I don't know if it's
his fault. I don't know if any of it's his fault.
I'm just saying they can't win under him. I'm not putting all the blame on him, but they can't win under him, under his leadership.
Okay. All right. Next game. Browns at Bears.
He's actually played better than I thought he would do.
I mean, I think he's probably been the most consistent of the backups.
Yeah.
All right. Bears are 7.5-point favorites. So we have this game kind of sandwiched in between 2 division games versus the Packers. Now, the Packers did pull out the victory. Thank God. That was painful to watch last week because I was all over the Packers in that game. But the Bears were in it right up until the end. Now, I've said it every week. The Browns have a good defense, but their defense is not as good on the road. The Browns do have some offensive line injuries. I don't like the fact that this is sandwiched in between these 2 division games because I don't know if you remember, but when Ben Johnson took the job in Chicago, in his press conference, he specifically mentioned wanting to stay in the division to go up against the Packers twice a year. And the handshake after the game between Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur was a bit icy. So I don't love the hook here. I'd like to get this under 7. But I don't have any faith in the Browns on the road. So I'm gonna take the Bears, but I'm probably gonna outline it down and parlay it with something else.
Well,
it hasn't moved. I thought maybe it would move. Seems like a lot of people are on the Browns. Like every week, everybody wants to be on the Browns. And can we all just mention that last week being all over the Browns was the mistake? And I think we called that out. I know I called it out.
Yeah. No, definitely went the other way.
So,
yeah, I just don't like the Browns here in this spot. It's a lot of points. I don't like this fits the theme of this week where there's too many points. I don't necessarily like the points in this game, but I'm going to take the Bears.
Yeah, and some people were commenting like last week that play that they ran at the end where they took Shedeur Sanders off the field. It was like, do they even want to win? Because maybe they don't want to win. All these like crappy teams, maybe they don't want to win at this point for better picks. All right, so we're on the same side of that one. Next game is the Titans at the 49ers. 49ers are 12.5-point favorites. Titans coming off the win versus the Browns last week. Are the Titans going to win 2 games in a row? Now they got to travel to the West Coast. Now, I initially heard somewhere that Shanahan is 3-0 after the bye in the last 3 years. And then I heard somebody else say like the exact opposite, that he's horrible off the bye. I went back and looked, and I didn't like research it all the way down, but they did win the last 2 years coming off the bye. And I don't know what the spreads were in those games, but the one win was against the Jaguars, and it was like 34-3. So they obviously covered that one. So I'm pretty sure the 3-0 has got to be right. If I'm going to take any of the big lines, this would be the one I would take with the 49ers.
I'm going to take the Titans.
I just don't see the Titans winning 2 in a row. They're really putting much into this one, so to speak.
Yeah, I just look at this one as it's the 49ers are going to play around, keep it tight, be up by like 17 at 2017, maybe like 18, let's say 17 points, and then give up a touchdown that's going to backdoor by the Titans. Somehow they're going to end up covering this spread.
Okay. All right, next game is the Lions at the Rams. Rams are 5.5-point favorites. Now, this one's kind of tough because this is obviously they swapped quarterbacks, and obviously Jared Goff and McVay did not part ways on especially good terms. But in this matchup, since the quarterback swap, Giants, geez, where'd that come from? The Lions won the last 2. It was September of 2024. They won 26-20, and they won the NFC wildcard game in 2023. 24-23 was the score. Now, the Rams offense obviously has been a bit of a juggernaut of late. I worry about the Lions defense being able to stop them. So I could see the Rams getting this one. I do worry, as I've said every week for the past, I don't know how many weeks, I always worry about Sean McVay as a large favorite because he does take his foot off the gas. Historically, we would love to take the Lions as the underdog. It doesn't have that like wonderful feel that it used to have. I could totally see the Rams winning this by more than 5.5, but I'm going to take the points with the Lions and hope for at least garbage time.
No, I'm with you on the Lions. I just think that it's going to be a 3-point game. So being 5.5 points with the Rams.
I hope it's a 3-point game.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily feel that it's going to be a 3-point game. But
Detroit's 5-0 in their last 5 against the spread versus the NFC West. They're 11-3 straight up in their last 14 on the road. So it's a good road team, the Lions, especially over the last 2 years.
Honestly, what I think it will come down to, because Sean McVay is, even though he's a young coach, he's got that like old coach mentality, like kick the field goal. And then you got the Lions on the other side, like go for it, you know, on a 4th and 2 or whatever. So I think it's probably going to come down to them converting one of those 4th downs that they go for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's going to be the difference in the game.
Dan Campbell's very aggressive. He's probably the most aggressive coach.
So I just hope the aggression works out, because if it doesn't, that's going to be the difference for sure. All right, next game is the Panthers at the Saints. Panthers are 2.5-point favorites. This is a division game. These teams played back in week 10. Saints won that game 17-7. They split last year. Saints actually coming off a win versus the Bucks, and Panthers coming off the bye week. Now, Bryce Young has never won as a favorite. Obviously, he hasn't necessarily been a favorite a whole lot in his career, but I do think that I took them as a favorite a couple weeks ago. It might have been in this matchup, and it didn't work out. I'm not going to bet this, but I wouldn't want to take the Panthers on the road as a favorite.
I want to take the Saints at home. I like the Saints here. I think that they're this is a spot for them where people are, the public's on the Panthers slightly. I think about 70% of the bets are on the Panthers. Only about 53% of the money, though. So it's almost getting to that point where we're looking for more bets on one team, but more money on the other. We'll see if it gets there by Sunday. But I do like the Saints. I think that Kellen Moore has them playing, and they're looking tough. Olave's back and doing some good things.
Okay.
So they have some weapons that they
All
can.
right, so you got the Saints.
I do. I have the Saints.
Good. Okay. Next game, Packers at Broncos. Sorry, but we got to move it along.
I don't have much else to say anyway. It's the fucking Saints.
Packers are 2.5 point favorites. So this is another game where we have the 11-2 Broncos at home as a dog. And like I mentioned at the top of this page, the Packers are sandwiched in between their two division matchups with the Bears. They did win last week. Broncos have been better at home and as a dog. They have not lost at home this year, and they have won their last 10. I got to take the Broncos.
I also like the Broncos here. Packers going on the road, coming off the huge game last week.
And getting ready for next week.
Getting ready for next week, and they're going on the road against the Broncos, and they're favored. I know. I guess the Packers are. Vegas is looking.
Everybody
at them
is
as
like
one of
all over the Packers. Like, I don't know. I will tell you this. Like last week, they started out strong, but I don't know what happened in halftime because they could not stop the Bears in the second half of that game, and they were lucky to get out of there with the win.
No, I think this is going to be a similar where they're probably going to jump out to a lead. Broncos have showed a propensity to come back and beat teams in the fourth quarter. They've done it all season long. I expect them to do the similar thing here against the Packers and win this game.
All right, next game. Oh God, next game is the Colts at the Seahawks. I totally even forgot we had to talk about this now. Hawks are 13.5 point favorites. Now, you made it sound like maybe Phillip Rivers doesn't start this game. But, like, does Phillip Rivers come out of retirement to back up Riley Leonard? No, right?
No, but, I mean, there's a chance that Riley Leonard is injured and can't play. But that was when they moved. Riley Leonard was hurt during the game last week, right? Mm-hmm. So they immediately ended the game and said, oh shit, we got to figure out a solution at quarterback. Now, since then, they've realized that Riley Leonard can probably play or that he's not as banged up as possible, but they still don't have Daniel Jones, so they're going to need somebody in there. Okay? Mm-hmm. So you following me? So now you speed up to the situation where it looks like Riley Leonard is not on the injury list, but they've talked him out of retirement and brought him in. So, I just don't understand why you're going to start Phillip Rivers if the other guy can go and you drafted him and he's a part of your team. And why didn't you just take Phillip Rivers and make him your backup quarterback 4 years ago, right?
Well, because you thought you were going somewhere this year, and now all of a sudden you're not, because you're not with any quarterback that they have.
They have zero confidence in Riley Leonard to be able to advance them into the playoffs or do anything long term this season.
But
right?
you can't.
So that's why they're bringing him in.
Bring him out of retirement to back up Riley Leonard. Like, he's going to start this game, right? I mean, that's my thought, right?
I don't know. You would think it's all very strange. I think guy's been sitting on his ass for 5 years.
Yeah.
He's got 20 kids. Like, it all reads to me like, hey, this guy's out of money.
I don't think he's out of money.
To come back in. I don't know. Why would he? I don't understand.
I don't know. It's very strange.
He was not that good when he was done. When he was done, he was done. I felt like he was done. He couldn't move anymore. He's never been a mobile guy.
Well, he doesn't have to move, right? He could be like Joe Flacco, right?
I guess that's probably what's motivating him. See Joe Flacco.
Mean, the Colts offensive line is pretty good.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Well,
I get your point. If you're going to bring him back, he's got to start, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's like... But it feels very much like when Mike Tyson fought that young guy like last year. Like, just don't do it. Like, just don't. And I feel like he shouldn't, but he's going to. So, I don't know. My recollection of Phillip Rivers as a Charger was like his capability to lose games in like unbelievable fashion.
Where did he go? Did he go to the Colts after that?
He was like 1 year with the Colts. But the Chargers, they were like the bad news bears. Like, they just always lost like on these like ridiculous things that happened. So it should be interesting. I mean, the ratings on this game have got to be like the highest off season. I mean, he's Phillip Rivers. He can throw a football, right? Like, garbage time, bring it within 2 touchdowns. I'm taking the Colts.
You're going to take the Colts?
Yeah, I mean, right? Like,
I'm going to take the Colts too.
right? I mean, even if the Seahawks go up, like, he can throw the ball down the field. And, yeah,
Seahawks are
garbage
favored
time.
by 2 touchdowns.
So,
And the Colts have a decent team. I mean, they
now
have a
I
really
think,
good team.
like, I heard on the
Just not a
radio, like,
quarterback.
the line, whatever you call it, before last week was, like, 7. So it's moved 7 points.
Based off the quarterback.
Based on Daniel Jones, which is like a very large spread move.
We're going to see what Jonathan Taylor's got left, you know? Jonathan Taylor needs to take this team and put them up on his shoulders and just carry the ball with the rest of the team down the field and put the ball in the end zone as much as possible.
And I did hear on the radio, like, and it's true, Phillip Rivers always loved his tight end, so maybe play some props on the tight end.
It's true. Antonio Gates.
Yeah. All right. So next game is Sunday night, Vikings at Cowboys. Cowboys are 6.5 point favorites. So Vikings coming off the big shutout. I think it was a shutout win versus the Commanders last week. I think that's probably more indicative of the Commanders having checked out than it is the Vikings having improved that much. I don't see JJ McCarthy putting it together 2 games in a row. Cowboys and Dak Prescott are always better at home. A few weeks ago, I read off a bunch of stats about Dak in prime time. And I tried to figure out the only thing when you talk about the Vikings, obviously it's the Flores defense. And I tried, and I'm pretty confident that Dak has never actually faced Brian Flores as a defensive staff member. We'll put it that way. But I got to take the Cowboys. Now, the only thing that worries me is this is a Sunday night game. It's America's fucking team. Like, is this going to be some kind of fix on this one? But I got to take the Cowboys just based on the 2 teams.
Yeah, but if there was a fix, wouldn't it be on the Cowboys? Wouldn't it be for the Cowboys?
No, if everybody's putting their money on the Cowboys, then when Vegas fixes the game, they fix it against the Cowboys.
Yeah, but I think if there's a fix in a Cowboys game, it's always in a Cowboys' favor or cheaters. That's where
that's
my
not true.
mindset goes.
Because Vegas doesn't care.
I understand
They
what you're
just
saying
care
to
about
Vegas.
their
I'm
fucking
just saying.
bottom line.
So I also like the Cowboys. I think that Dak.
It's not Monday night, though. That's good.
Yeah, it's a Sunday night game, right? Mm-hmm. So I like Dak. I think Dak is gonna, show up and show out here.
And
I wouldn't get fooled on the Vikings win last week either.
Yeah, I think CeeDee Lamb should be back, even though he obviously was concussed last week. Because then we got the whole Pickens situation there too.
Pickens is gonna want to show out too because
Is he?
he took a lot of. No, I don't think he was because you're believing what the media is saying, that he was like giving up on stuff. He wasn't giving up.
I saw the one ball like hit his fucking foot, and he made like no effort to actually like try to catch it. So that's
down the left sideline.
Yes.
By the end zone. Yeah, that was camera angles, man. That ball was bad thrown. The way it landed, it looks like he had a shot. He didn't have a shot at that. That ball was thrown inside.
I don't know. All I know is
It's
I
thrown inside. You'd have to go through the receiver to get the ball. That would be the only thing, is try to draw pass interference, go through the receiver. But if you do it blatantly, the refs aren't going to call it.
They're like, so I always
I think
put
got a
in,
bad rap, to be
I
honest
always
with you.
put in my multi-leg same game parlay, and there's certain guys I never put in because they'll just never get there or they get hurt. And Pickens is the one guy, like, I never put him in, but he's had like a bunch of like really good games. So I put him in for like 60 yards and he killed my parlay. So maybe I'm a little bitter.
I needed a touchdown out of him last week.
But
So I'm also mad at him. But I think he's getting a bad rap for that. Anyway, I like the Cowboys.
well, I mean, he is a bit
Cowboys
of
by a touchdown.
head case. All right, and then final game is the Monday night game, Dolphins at Steelers. Steelers are 3.5 point favorites. Dolphins have won 4 in a row. They won in New York last week in the cold. It is definitely going to be colder this week in Pittsburgh, so we have that whole to it in the cold thing. Now, Achane left the game last week, so I don't know what his status is, but that would be important if you want to bet the Dolphins. And I don't know if you want to talk at all about TJ Watt not being in the game because he took a dry needle to the lung during physical therapy. But
Yeah, dry needle, like basically they're doing like needle shocking muscles to relieve tension, and whoever the physical therapist is or whoever was implementing the needle treatment punctured his lung So
Yeah,
I
some
don't
of this-
know. That punctured lung sounds like you're going to be out at least a month, right?
Well, I don't know. And what's in? I don't know. Something like that happened to Tyrod Taylor. It was not a dry needling session, but it was a needle to some organ on like right before. That's I think when Herbert like started for the Chargers.
Yeah, that's not a good situation. So I mean, I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything following up, but I gotta think that Watt's done for the year. Wouldn't you? I mean, you don't mess around with those
I don't
things.
know.
Punctured lung?
Well, aren't your lungs back here?
Yeah, but I mean, it's your breathing. Like you get hit.
But you're trying to go in a muscle and you go in a lung. That's very strange to me. But I
know
don't.
it's back. The therapy what I was reading was specifically for like your neck and your
Yeah.
back. So they're needling the back of your.
Right, but
Side.
I mean, I don't know. I
backside.
still think it's hard to get into a lung that way.
I don't know. Person obviously fucked up.
All right, but
I
yeah,
don't think
I don't.
that's what they were intending
Well,
to do.
obviously not. I don't want anything to do with this game, honestly.
No, I'm going to take the Dolphins. I think the Steelers, I like the narrative. I'm going to play the narrative until it's disproven that the Bengals are going to backdoor into the playoffs. So that means the Ravens lose, the Steelers lose. We're going to play Bengals win.
Okay, it's fine. All right, that'll do it for us for week 15. I feel like I've been here for like 3 hours.
I know, it does seem like a long one. So many games.
All right, remember to like and subscribe if you watched this far, and we'll see you back here next week. Peace out.
Go Birds.